Hello, Cynthia.
Hey Jen, how's it going?
It's going great. I'm really, really excited to talk about today. We're going to be giving our opinion of 6 books that we think every business owner should read that will help them in running their business. Would you agree with
Ooh.
that?
I mean, I want to say that this is my current list. I don't want to tie myself down, but maybe we could do a
For
check-in
sure.
in like 6 months.
I think that's great. And we'll probably do like podcasts to listen to in the future and
Yes,
things like that
I
as
love
well.
that. Yeah.
But I think these books are good. So we're going to go through this, that we're going to try to make this a very quick episode where we're giving you the information. But again, we'd love to talk in social media at Marketing Duo Podcast on Instagram. If you find one of these helpful, or if you have something to add, and then we'll talk about it in another episode, the book that you recommend. So
Yeah.
first book, Digital Threads. This is by Neil Schaefer. I have been following Neil Schaefer. He's a marketing expert. He's a CMO, so he outsources his chief marketing officer knowledge to lots of companies. That's like his expertise. I was fortunate enough to be on his pre-reader list.
Wow.
So I got to read this book before it was released.
That's
It's an
awesome.
Audible. Yeah. Oh, it's so cool. And it's an Audible. It's on where you can read it electronically, but you can also purchase the book. And it comes with a workbook that is ingenious because you can learn something, but if you don't implement it, it's not like this workbook helps you to implement it.
Totally.
I have been doing marketing for years, corporate America to now, and I found it to be the best marketing book that I have read,
Whoa.
truly, because it covers all areas of marketing and it tells you sort of the order to do them in.
Mm.
It's wild. I love it. Neil Schaefer's Digital Threads explores the integration of various digital marketing channels to create a cohesive and effective strategy. He emphasizes the importance of connecting different platforms to enhance brand presence and engagement. And it is a literal how to XYZ do this. It's really, really good.
I love it.
Sorry. It's my favorite one
I
so
have a
far.
quick question. How do you
Yeah.
find he stays on top of, does he update it? I guess I'll just look, but
So I'm not sure about him updating it, but all of his other books he updates.
okay,
So
okay.
I'm assuming that that's the
Right,
case.
right, right.
It is it is amazing. Like it is a book that you don't typically just read, well, however long it takes you to read it. I think I read it in like 2 days, but that's cuz I'm a fast reader. But I actually think it's really appropriate for businesses that are suddenly struggling with like leads and things like that,
Yeah.
or want to tighten up their marketing sort of workflow, or new businesses that haven't started marketing so that you can understand all the different things from email lists to all of the digital marketing needs. I think this is something that is just incredible. I personally would love to look at it and look in a specific area
Yeah.
and then go through the questions he asks to make sure that I'm doing it to the best of my ability, if
No,
that
and
makes
if
sense.
you're really starting with marketing, like you don't know anything, you need someone to guide you through the landscape of it because there's so many directions. So I love that.
Yes, it is an amazing book and I really love it and highly recommend it.
Awesome.
Okay, what's your next one?
Mine, the first one is a mindset book. It's called The Big Leap by Gay Hendricks.
Love it.
And if you guys haven't heard of Gay Hendricks or you haven't read, he does have a very interesting style of writing. He's kind of like, he goes into his worlds and stuff. But this book is just a game changer because it talks about how we basically limit ourselves because, we want to keep ourselves safe. And so he talks a lot about how to overcome those limits. And it can be in anything, right? When we're building our business, we're pushing all these limits of money, of visibility, of even like, childhood stuff comes up around being popular, being seen as valuable, like all this stuff. And so we need to be very aware of that because you can do all the practical things, but if your mindset isn't right, you're going to keep, I feel like, you're gonna struggle with some of the results. So this is like a go-to book for that.
Yes, it's amazing. I have read it. I own it. I reread
Yeah,
certain
it's a
areas.
great
It's really, really, really good. Okay, my second one and last one. I'm only doing two
Okay.
because I want to just do the best of the best.
Yes.
This is called Blue Ocean Strategy:
Yeah.
How to Create Uncontested Marketing Space and Make the Competition Irrelevant. It's by W. Chan Kim and Renee Morburn. We'll have it in there for you to look at. So, this book really introduces the concept of creating blue oceans, meaning finding the areas that have the least competition, but the highest opportunity of making money.
Mm,
The book introduces the concept of creating that blue ocean, untapped market spaces ripe for innovation, and the author provides analytical framework and tools to help organizations systematically create and capture these unexplored markets, making competition irrelevant. So it's a great book if you're wanting to do your own business and you just don't know what you want to do yet. I think that would be a really great resource for you.
yeah.
Also, if you're in business and you want to dip your toe in another area or do some tweaks, I would recommend reading that as well.
Yeah.
It really talks a lot about also about how you're unique, and you need to dive into that
Yeah.
in your business. Use what makes you unique because that is the only marketing that you don't have to compete on.
Yeah. Yeah, so I had started a Blue Ocean, but I did it, I was reading it via Audible, and I found it so dry. So I don't know, did you read
Yes.
it? Did you read it, like, re
I read it. I read the first edition a billion years
Yeah.
ago. Not a billion years ago, but like a long time ago, the first version of it. And it is more knowledge
Yes.
versus strategy.
Yeah.
So sometimes knowledge for knowledge sake is a little harder to absorb.
Yeah.
I would not be able to do it audible.
Oh
Audible
my
for
god.
me,
Yeah.
I don't remember as much as if I read
Yeah.
it. That's like a memory thing of how I
Yeah,
learn.
yeah, yeah.
But I would recommend reading
No,
it.
absolutely. I didn't get
Audible's
into it.
hard.
I need to go back
Yeah.
to it. I wanna go back to it, but when I was doing it at Audible, it was like I was driving and I was
Wah,
kinda, like,
wah,
falling
wah,
asleep.
wah.
I was like, "What is this guy
Almost feels
talking
like
about?"
school,
Yeah.
right?
So, anyway, yeah, it's more of a textbook, I guess, sort of style, but I think it's incredible, and it again, these books are meant to give us frameworks that have been tested and that work, and so you don't need to like, we have to think about there's people who go and get a business degree, right? And maybe some of you listening have a business degree. Fantastic. I didn't do that. So I had to learn how to run a business through books and through a lot of experimentation and making mistakes. So these are like the books that I feel like would amount to a business degree.
Absolutely.
My next one, I love this book and I do reference it quite a bit. And there's frameworks in it that I still use today. It's called Traction by Gino
Such a good
Wickman.
book.
Yeah. It's a very, like, I wanna say I wanna do another episode, Jen, where we only feature women authors because these are all very, like, masculine, which is great. We need that.
Yes.
We need the masculine structure, all about it.
We need
We
both.
need
We need
both,
both
yeah.
for sure.
So Traction is like a book where he gives you like a bunch of worksheets and like ways of building your business, like how to build an organization chart, how to set goals. And that stuff can be really helpful because you're literally building something from nothing. And so you need someone to give you kind of like a place to put all those ideas. And I still use the vision tracker. That's like one of the first tools I used in my business and I still use it. So that means it's just like a timeless sort of tool, right? And there's a lot he has in that book. And it's a little book, like it's not that big. It's like this big. It's so I'm really grateful
It's
for that.
crazy. It's kinda easy to
Yeah,
absorb too,
yeah,
I find.
yeah, yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. So, yeah, but let's do another one for, like, women authors and or maybe just different vibes,
Totally.
yeah.
Totally. I do have a third, so I'll
Yeah.
go ahead and go, and that's the Story Brand book.
Yes.
and that's by Donald Miller.
Yeah,
It is sort of a think outside the box, or at least that's how it felt to me,
good.
knowing business, knowing marketing. It was kind of a think outside the box on what needs to be on your website
Yeah.
and how to limit being too wordy.
Mm,
Also, I
mhm.
will say,
Yeah,
because I use a ton of words because I'm very uncomfortable writing anything.
right.
That's just me. I get it. And StoryBrand was a way for me to take the information, and it was very workbook-esque.
Yeah,
Take the learning education and then go do it in your business. It was hard. It felt very hard to me, but it's still the book that I recommend to every business owner. Absolutely, because it really does niche down and narrow down to what is going to be the most effective way
yeah,
of getting conversions
absolutely.
from your website.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, these are just all shortcuts, and branding and copywriting is like one of the most important. It's a really crucial area of your business. Even if you eventually, hand it off, you need to know the basics of branding and how you're showing up and storytelling. I feel like that's one of the first skills, and that's a hard skill to
It's
learn.
hard.
It's hard because it's not the same as writing in school. Like, I look at my, I don't know, I look at, like, my first emails or, like, my first version of my site, and it's, like, cute because I'm writing in not a marketing way that now I've, like, trained myself to do, and it's literally just
Yes.
a skill, and then you get to hand it off, and, like, I'm actually about to hire a copywriter for my email newsletter, and I'm so excited because it's like I get to actually hire a professional, but it's taken years and years and years for me to find my voice, and I'm grateful for that process, which is interesting because we were just talking about DIY versus done for you.
Yes. In the last episode, you'll probably hear that before you hear this one. But yeah. Yeah.
So good.
And what's your last one?
My last one is Profit First by Mike Michalowicz. I love Mike.
The best book for money. Oh my gosh. I read it and hate read it, if that makes sense. I
Oh,
don't
I see.
enjoy financial
Yeah.
stuff, clearly, which is why I needed to read that book. And I've reread it a number of times just to keep absorbing it.
Yes. Yeah, so I read that at the also pretty early on in my business. I did do the Audible, and he made me laugh so hard in my car, and I was like, "This is incredible. No one's made me laugh." Like, I felt like I was in a comedy club. Like, no one's made me laugh about money before, and I feel like it just changed my view of, I mean, it again, this whole idea of like an MBA, like, someone needs to teach you how to do your finances in your business. Like, no one is born knowing that. Like, you learn it literally. And even if you're good at money in your personal life, it's not the same. It's not the same as what you're doing in your business. Yeah, his framework is incredible. And fun fact, I actually interviewed him on my podcast a long time ago. It was like maybe under the first 100 episodes. And I was just blushing the whole time because, he's just such a fun guy, and he's written a million books too about business, so I think he's just a good author to check out. I think he must have, like, 10 books by now. He has ones on
I
marketing.
can't believe you interviewed him. I'm so jealous. That is amazing.
You know how I got that interview? Should I share how I got that
No.
interview? This
Yes,
is
you
a little
should
trick.
share.
This is a little trick for pitching for podcasts. So this was at the beginning. I don't pitch. I mean, I invite guests on, but this was at the very beginning of my podcast journey. I hadn't had, I was just interviewing anyone literally that would talk to me. And I'm on his email list. And he sent out an email that he was launching a book, of course, one of his many, many books, and that he wanted to be featured on other podcasts. So I literally replied to that and I said, "I'd love to have you on my podcast." And he said, "Yes." And
Wow.
that's how, like, that is one trick, and I've done that with a few people who, I mean, when you're starting anything, you always wanted, the ideal is to have someone on your channel who has a bigger audience than you, right? Because Mike Michalowicz will have his audience come to me, right? And so that's such a great hack because if you just get on people's news, I just reply to people's newsletters and they're thrilled because I think no one replies. Just reply to
I
people.
know. I know. And replies on your email list are actually really important to
Yes.
keeping a very healthy and robust email list. So, yeah, replies are the best. I That is amazing. You need to reshare that again on social
Oh,
media
yeah.
because
I wanna
it's
re
amazing.
Yeah, he was just so nice, and I was, like, blushing the whole time because he's such a nice guy, and I have a little crush there, but, I haven't read one of his books in a while, but I should probably revisit. This has inspired me to, like, revisit some of these concepts, right?
Yay! I have 2 where I was like that, where you're
Okay,
like a gushing fan
yeah,
that you don't wanna try to gush, you wanna
right,
just have an interview. Jessica Stansberry, who does YouTube, is
right,
a YouTube expert.
yeah,
I had her on my channel, died. That's because I was in one of her memberships and I was able to ask her in there.
right,
Again, it's kind of who you know or
right.
yeah, who you know. And then it hasn't been released yet, but Sue Bryce, which is a very famous photographer, especially of women
Right.
portraits,
Oh, amazing.
who I learned from in 2014, 2015, 2016 in my photography journey. Uh, she got pitched to me. I'm
Wow.
like, whoa, because it has to do with marketing and it has to do with photography. I was like, oh, the
Oh.
best thing ever.
Oh,
Thanks so much for joining us. We hope that you will get even just one book off this list
yes.
because you're taking a step forward in refining your business and making it even better so that you can live a better life from the rewards of that business. We'll see you next time, but definitely leave us a review if you enjoyed this. Reviews are so important to our podcast, so we'd really appreciate that. And also see us on our Instagram account, Marketing Duo Podcast, and let us know that you're listening and what you'd like to see more of. Have a great day.
Bye.